Hello, everyone. Welcome to Winning Mondays with Keller Williams Malaysia. I'm so glad to see you guys today. My name is Mariah. I'm with the regional team here. I'm the training coordinator. I'm happy to be back, guys. I know I missed you the past 2 weeks. I was in Canada. So I hope you guys had a good session with Nick. Nick was hosting, and I got to tune in actually from Canada for a while and see J Dot on the screen, and they were talking about how they built their team and all the journeys that they have been through and how they do their open house and all that. So I know if you haven't seen that episode, please do go back and watch our recording. Yeah, but today we have a really special extra special session today. I'm really excited for you guys. Right, we just finished Q1, right? We just finished Q1 recently, and there's a lot going on. I know we have some holidays and celebrations coming up later this week, but as you prepare for, coming into Q2 now, I wanted to give you guys a chance to reflect on, how Q1 has gone and how you guys are doing with your goals and maybe some inspiration and changes you want to make. Okay, so I actually just put together a poll question for you guys. Here we go. All right, I got a poll question just to get you guys started. Yeah, I want to say especially a big hello to Facebook Live, everyone on Facebook Live. Hello, hello, and everyone on Zoom, of course. Yeah, so I have a question here. Maybe on Facebook you cannot see my question, so I'll just read it out. Right, so this is about your progress toward your 2024 goals. How did you do on your 2024 Q1 goals, right? So you probably have your goals for the year, and they should be blocked out, right, by maybe by quarter, by month, by week, by day. But when you look at your Q1 goals, how are you doing with your goals? Are you on track? You did well. Either you're on track or above, or maybe you're between 50 to 100%, somewhere like less than 100%, but more than 50%. Or maybe you're less than 50%, like you're really struggling. Please let us know. And this is all anonymous. Whatever questions, whatever answer you put, no one will know what you wrote. And last option is you never set any goals, or you don't know what your goals are. You don't know what your progress is because you never went to check. Just let us know, just so we can know where you're at, right? So yeah, so once again, how did you do on your Q1 goals for 2024? Are you on track? Are you between 50 to 100% of your goals, kind of like halfway, 3/4 of the way there, or maybe less than 50%, like you're quite struggling, or maybe you never set any goals to begin with. So for those on Zoom, please put your answers here, and those on Facebook Live, you can put your answers in the chat. That one obviously not anonymous, sorry, but it's nice just to know, giving you a chance to reflect, and so we can kind of know where you're at, and hopefully our guests will be able to speak to you better because of that. Okay, so I'll just give a few more seconds for you guys to fill up. I hope maybe one or two of you more of you can fill out the poll. I would appreciate it so we can hear from you all. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll. Okay, I'm sure you're all curious, right, on the results. I'm gonna just share this quickly. So, according to this, it's quite interesting. I mean, not a big amount of people filled it out, I'm going to be honest, but we have 27% of people saying they're on track, 27% of people saying they got between 50 to 100% of their goals, they've reached them, and 36% are less than 50. So some of you are struggling. Yeah, so thank you for being honest about that, because I'm sure our guests have something to share to encourage you today. And maybe 9% of you said you never set any goals. All right, well, thank you so much for that feedback. So without any further ado, I'm going to just close this poll off. I'm going to invite our special guests on. We have two people. We have Mark Richards and Jessica Whirley. So welcome. Give you a big welcome to Malaysia.
Good morning, Malaysia. Good morning to you.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. So you're not in the morning, right? What time is it where you are?
It is just after 9 p.m. here on the East
Wow.
Coast in the United States. So, and
Awesome.
we're Jess and I are located in Maine. We're about 90 minutes or so from Boston if you were to travel northeast up the coast of Maine, for those of you that love geography. We live in a beautiful part of the country
Right,
here. Yeah,
right. Thank you.
coast.
Just thank you. First of all, we want to thank you. Yeah, I know I realized that my image is backwards. So, but yeah, I want to thank you so much for both giving your time and your evening to sharing with us here in Malaysia. I think the agents will really benefit from whatever you have to share. So I appreciate just big thank you in advance before we even start. Yeah.
Thank you for
Okay,
the
so
opportunity.
yeah, so maybe we can start by just letting you to introduce yourselves. Maybe Mark, you want to start first? If you could just share, I should just share a little bit. So Mark Richards, you are a business and maps leadership coach. Is that right?
That's correct. Yep. I've been
Oh,
a
can you hear me? Okay, cool.
yep. Yeah, that's correct. I've been a maps coach now for 10 years. And I'll tell you a little bit about how I got here. I went to the military after high school. And once I completed my military service, I went to university. In my final year at university, I took an internship with a nonprofit, a very large youth nonprofit. And in that internship, I got to meet all the power structures of the area that I was living in here in Maine. I get to meet all the bank presidents and people that had great
Oh,
influence. And so by doing that and working in that environment for about 9 years, I learned a lot from working in the nonprofit world, making things work with less than the corporate world would maybe have, doing it with a lot less people, and then meeting amazing people that were dedicated to the cause. And I knew that from that experience there, I learned how to talk to and become in relationship with people that have leadership in the communities that I lived in. And that became really important because after that experience of working for that nonprofit, one of the board president of the nonprofit came to me. He was a commercial real estate broker. And he said, if you're ever interested in a career in real estate, I'd love to interview you for our commercial real estate company. And
okay.
at the time, I had already had a job with Visa. I was doing business consulting, and I said, thanks very much, Tom. But 2 years rolled around, and in 2 years, I called Tom up. I said, I'd love to interview you about what it's like being a commercial real estate broker. So
Okay.
always be prepared to ask questions. And from that meeting, I was asked to come on as a partner in the brokerage firm. I became and served as a commercial broker for 7 years. And at about 7 years, it was an opportunity. My wife and I wanted to build our own real estate agency.
Okay.
So I moved to her agency real quick, and it was a husband and wife team there that we became friendly with. And one afternoon, um, Julie came up to me and she said, "Hey, have you heard of Keller Williams?" And I said, "Yeah, I've heard about them, but I really don't know much about them." And she said, "Well, we've just had a great meeting with the ownership group, and we're moving our team there, and wanted to know if you might be interested." And she gave me the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, and I read that on a plane. The next day, I was speaking in St. Louis, so I had plenty of time to read. I got about 100 pages through, and I'd called her up when I got there, and I said, I got to meet the owners of this group. And in 2005, my wife and I and our team came to Keller Williams. We've been with Keller Williams since then. I've been involved in real estate since 1999, so 24, 25 years now.
Okay.
And I've served a bunch as a MAPS coach, and I can tell you a little bit more about what MAPS means, and that's Gary Keller's coaching division at Keller Williams here, and we can talk about that. I've had the pleasure to coach in Malaysia, Japan, Vietnam, all over Canada and the United States, and it's just been an amazing opportunity. And it's available to anybody that really chooses to want to search for those things.
Wow, wow. That is an amazing story about your life. That's great. That's really cool. I like how you talked about um I mean you clearly got into this through your connections and through building those relationships with all these leaders and how it's served you well, moving forward. That's very cool.
Yeah, I think in every opportunity that we're placed into, there's a lesson to be learned. The sooner that we learn the lesson and we actually put that into practice, the sooner we can move forward. And this world, this business, this Keller Williams movement is just full of opportunities, whether it's in Malaysia or in the United States or wherever. The
Right.
opportunities are there for folks that are looking for them.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, I will ask you more about MAPS coaching, but first I want to come to Jess Whirley. Yeah, thank you for joining us. Would you like, I know you are an agent, a real estate agent in DuBois Realty Group, right? Do you want to share with us a little bit about your background and how long you've been in the business, how you got into the business? That would be great. Oh, we cannot hear you. I don't know why. What happened? Oh, shoot. Why do these things happen, huh? Wow. I don't know. Even when you're unmuted, try again. No, it's not working. Oh dear. You might have to restart your computer. I don't know, unless there's something you can change. I know during just before this, we were talking to you, right? And it was fine. Wow, technology is extraordinary. I don't know why these things happen.
The technology
Can you hear me
gremlins
now?
moving.
Oh, yes,
There.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay. Sorry, I took out my headphones. Maybe they died. So I
Right.
apologize about that. I haven't been in the business as long as Mark. He has a great background. But I went to college and I got a degree in teaching to work with infants and toddlers up to preschool. Um, and teaching really doesn't make a ton of money. And so I found that I was struggling there. And so I jumped over to the lending world and I was a loan processor for mortgages. I did that for about 3 years. And then I was a loan officer assistant for about 2 years. I went back to teaching because that's really what I love. And so then I jumped back to the lending world as well because it just seemed to fit what I was looking for. And then I worked from home for about 2 years as a loan officer assistant, and I just really wanted to do more. So I jumped into real estate, and I've been an agent for 11 months now.
11 months. Wow, congratulations.
She's
Congratulations.
killing it. That's great.
I heard even though it's only 11 months, you've closed 11 deals. Is that right?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. I think anyone who's been a rookie knows that's quite tough to do, right? When you just start to like immediately get into yeah, to close deals. That's fantastic. Into production. Yeah, I want to also bring up because this story, right, that you have somehow managed to make 11 dials, like make 11 phone calls in one day. Sorry, not 11, what am I saying?
1100. Yeah.
That is completely insane. So yeah, your leader was telling me that you're like a legend in the market, a legend in the market center. Is that right?
Yeah, I go to like events now for Keller Williams, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're the girl that does 1,000 dials." So yeah, that's how people know me now.
They have your poster on the wall. They can make a meme about you. Have you done your Whirley calls or something? The Whirley machine. I'm sorry. I can have fun. No.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna want to hear more about that. But I want to go back to Mark first. Mark, do you want to share with us, yeah, about MAPS coaching and what that's about and how you became a coach? Yeah.
Sure. MAPS coaching. MAPS is an acronym. If you're a part of our Keller Williams culture, you know we have a lot of acronyms.
Hmm.
MAPS stands for Mega Agent Productivity Systems.
Hmm.
Mega Agent Productivity Systems, and it was the coaching division that Gary Keller created within Keller Williams International, and we currently have about 250 coaches, and we have nearly over 4,000 clients currently. So we're the
Okay.
largest real estate coaching entity in the world, and we coach the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. So we have a program that we coach to.
Very
And
cool.
I was asked to interview and to audition as a Bold coach back in 2014. And Bold stands for Business Objectives Life by Design. It's a 7-week, highly intensive course that an instructor comes into and works with a group of agents for 7 weeks on really looking at habits, looking at patterns, how we think, why we do the things we do, and then moving forward in positive directions. It's a life-changing experience, and I was blessed to be able to coach that for nearly 7 years until we got hit with COVID. And
Okay.
then during COVID, I was asked by Keller Williams International if I would consider coaching leaders and working internationally. So
Oh,
at
that's
any given time in this organization, there are people that are going to be looking for talent. And if you're doing your job and you're doing it well, you're going to be looked at upon for opportunities. So
right.
I haven't shared a whole lot of my mistakes yet that I've made over the years, but I've made plenty of those. But I guess if you only make if you make less than 51% of them, you'll be okay. So you can learn a lot by having a coach, and a coach can take you from maybe a mindset you currently have where you may have a limiting belief to moving you through that to a potential that's greater maybe than you even thought of for
Wow.
yourself. Yeah.
Do you happen to know how many clients you've had? How many people you've coached in your career?
Oh,
Or
in my career, because I was a team leader when I came to Keller Williams. within 3 months, they asked if I would interview for a team leader job. So I was a team leader in 2 different market centers. And so if you were to count all the agents that I've coached in market centers, as well as all the agents that I coached in Bowl, it would be thousands just in Bowl alone. Yeah. So now I coach one-on-one. I coach mega agents and team leaders and operating principals and regional directors.
Right. Okay. So yeah, you're coaching
Yeah.
the leadership side now, but earlier it was on just the solo and team
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
Coached a lot of teams and a lot of solo agents along the way for sure. And I still do. I have a number of them that are clients of mine right now.
Great. Yeah, good to know. Well, if anyone, yeah, I'm sure, well, I hope that if someone is looking for a very experienced coach, they might also consider you for in the future. Yeah, anyone who's on the call today. Yeah, we also have
Be happy to.
we have coaches here. Maybe we can get you one day to do a training for our coaches. That would be
Love to do that.
We'll see, we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to just I know I have a lot of questions for you guys. Yeah, so just now I had run a poll, right, about the goals and how people are making progress on their goals. I think some of them have very big goals they want to achieve. I know some personally, they have very large goals. Some might not be too clear, but I think some might be struggling to make it happen and just struggling to put in that effort and be consistent, right? It's not easy to achieve our goals. So I would love to know, Mark, do any of the agents you coach have this kind of problem of just struggling to achieve their goals, and how do you normally advise them?
You know, I don't coach any robots. So everybody is doing the best they can. My friend Diana Kokoska taught me a long time ago. She said that everybody's doing the best they can in the moment that they're in. So it could have been this morning they had the worst fight with their partner or their one of their kids, and they're showing up at work the best that they can. And sometimes we get that best, and it may not feel like the best to us. So
Right,
the coaching opportunity is a way to really help people move through maybe a current season that they're in, or a way of thinking maybe that they were brought up with, and to help release them from some of that, look at different opportunities and help them move through actually implementing the things they say they want to do. A coach doesn't tell you what to do, isn't your boss. A coach is your partner, and we partner together based on what it is that the client really wants to achieve. And sometimes we have to go backwards a bit in order to go forwards and really
okay,
put that person in a place to achieve at a high level.
right. So what kind of what kind of conversations do you have? What kind of questions do you ask?
Well, I ask questions based on the situation the client may find themselves in. So I may ask them questions like, when did you start thinking that way? Where
Mm,
did you learn to think that way?
right, right, right,
You know, what is it about thinking that way that has helped you? What is it that thinking that way has hindered you or slowed you down?
right,
So we can really peel down the onion, if you will, and really get to the place that's holding a person back. And usually it's the real estate between your ears that holds you back. And when we unlock that just a bit and we move forward using the models and systems, we can have great results.
right. So if for those who are struggling with being consistent and having that motivation to be consistent, what would you tell them, to those
Yeah,
agents?
talk to Jess Whirley. She's amazing. You'll hear from her. You know, when people are struggling, what I'll oftentimes do is I'll find out, are they in alignment with their goals and their values?
Okay,
Sometimes we get out of alignment in our values in our life. And when we're out of alignment, then everything seems to be frustrating, seems to be aggravating, doesn't seem to ever be enough. So take people back to that place of what are the values in your life that are non-negotiable.
okay,
And then we work from that value and we say, are we on track in that value? And oftentimes we're not. We just make a little course direction change. We get back in the alignment of value. And
right,
then we're going to look at the things that will create great opportunity. And sometimes those are small things. They don't have to be massive things. And I think
right.
that's what holds a lot of business owners back, is they think they have to do something massive to get
Hmm,
a massive result. And it's really what Gary teaches us is it's quantum. It's a very small thing that you do consistently that creates massive results.
okay,
Yeah.
right. Doing a small thing consistently. Nice. When you mentioned about values, I think the other day when I had talked to you as well, you mentioned about the big why and the need to have that clarity on the big why. Yeah. To
Yeah.
yeah, what is that? What is it about the big why that helps to make those small things easier to do, if you want?
It's a great question, and the big why is something that once you find it, it's like it doesn't stay there all the time. It may migrate as you migrate in your journeys through life. But that why is an intentionality about what it is that you're building your business for. And I've worked with many business owners inside and outside the real estate industry. And what I find is when they get lost, it's because they've lost the clarity of why they're doing what they're doing.
Okay.
Sometimes we get agents that want to do more just for the sake of doing more, and that's not healthy. So when we get a clarity, what it actually does is it empowers us to be able to say no to things that aren't going to get us to where we need to go as quickly. And it tells us what to say yes to. And when we don't have that clarity, and friends, it's not like you're going to have clarity every single day, but if you get to that place where you're working on your clarity, then you're looking at it every day on your 411 or your GPS or both. You re-examine the clarity of what you're doing this for. And that falls on the right-hand side of the 411. Everybody gets excited about the left-hand side, which is what you have to do. I really want to help people think about who they have to be. Because once you start becoming that person that can do 11 transactions in her first year, or that person that does 100 transactions in a year, or 1,200 transactions a year, whatever that number is, once you start becoming that person, you take on a whole different way of looking at things, and it takes away the limitations in your mind. So a big part of that is just, really unlocking that ability through clarity to say, this is what I'm going to do. Is this in alignment with my values? If it's not, how do I come back into alignment with it? And the only way you can do that is by having a partner, a trusted coach, or somebody that you're working with that cares enough about asking you questions that are going to cause you to think. And in this day and age, we don't get to do enough thinking.
Right. It's just trying to put out fires and just move forward. And
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we've all done it. I'm not sitting here in front of you saying, hey, I've mastered everything. I'd be a fool to say that. I've learned a lot. I've had so many people pour into me over the years. It's been amazing. Yeah.
Right. To give some context, would you mind to share your big why, just to give for people who are not very clear on how this big why thing works?
So my wife and I developed Big Y many years ago, and it's been one that we've been able to live with because what it is to get to a place where we live on 20% of our income and we have 80% of it to invest and to pour into worthy organizations around the world that are helping to build people, to build leaders and kids. So our goal is to have that clarity, and the clarity comes down to our freedom number, which is the number that we're working for. Gary Keller said, if you're just working for more and more and more, you're probably going to get caught in that rat race, and it's going to feel uncomfortable, and maybe you'll use the word burning out or not feeling good about what I do. So that freedom number for us is a number that my wife and I have worked on, and it's how much passive income do we need to have to cover all our needs in our life by design. So sending our grandchildren to university, buying several horses for my daughter who rides dressage, traveling the way we like to travel, going to conferences and educating ourselves, being around people that are going to raise the bar in our lives. So we've come up with a number that would cover that just in passive income alone. And that's caused us to make decisions as we built our lives on if we're going to go in this direction or that direction. So the freedom number is that number that you wouldn't need to go to work for, because it's passively coming into your life through real estate investments, through energy, or whatever you choose to invest in.
Wow.
So for Gary, so Gary Keller always taught us when he was coaching us was, when you get to the place where you get to go to work instead of have to go to work, it's an amazing energy.
Right.
And you can find great energy along the way to getting there, which is really cool. That's why some of our tools are so important. Really having a great GPS, really working on your 411 and having that accountability partner. I know you got business planning coming up. Really knowing how many leads do I need to take this week?
Right.
And when we get it down to that common denominator that makes things work, sometimes it's a very little thing. We call that gradual, sudden. It comes from Susan Scott's book, Fierce Conversations. Everything in our life is gradual, then sudden. A couple gets divorced. Well, it was gradually happening, gradual, then sudden, it happened. Success in real estate, gradual, sudden. All of a sudden, it just explodes. And then if you have the systems to hold that explosion, you can continue to grow with it. So A lot
Wow.
of things that I've learned along the way from so many great coaches. And I think the number one thing is if you feel like you're caught and you're behind right now, find
Mm.
one thing that brings you great energy and what we get to do as realtors, and
Wow.
use that one thing. If you're not good on the phone, then you got to figure out another way to get good in connecting with people. Maybe it's face to face, maybe it's putting on seminars. But you've got to find one place of high energy that it's in your value suit, and you feel good when you're doing it. And when you do, that emits an energy that people are attracted to. And it can be, I know people that put on seminars. I know people that put on just world-class open houses. Whatever it is that they do that creates great energy, they do it at a world-class level with
Wow.
intentionality. Yeah.
Right, right. Like that passion. Wow, you shared so many things already. So many things to ponder on. I like that gradual, sudden. That's very powerful, and it's something we can apply to every area of our life, including our business, our goals. Yeah, currently.
On a diet, it works in all directions, and you know, it's gonna show up. So the little things that are gradual in your business will show up in big ways down the road for sure. Gary
Okay.
wrote that whole program called Quantum Leap. It's all about those small changes, quantum changes in our lives.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Okay, I want to hear from Jess for a bit, just to come back to you. I feel like we've left you alone over there for too long. Jess, can you share with us your big why? Do you have a big why? Is this something that you've talked about or thought about in your first year?
So I think mine is still in the like building stages because my like big why right now it's to hit smaller goals. Like at first it was to not worry about where my next paycheck is coming from, and then it was okay, I've gotten past that, and now it's working on consolidating some debt and working on that, and how do I get my family to be debt free. So really, like my big why is in the changing stages,
Mm.
because I'm so new as an agent. So I've built like smaller goals that like reach that bigger goal. So my bigger goal is to be debt free and to provide this lifestyle for my family that we don't have to be concerned about bills going forward. So that's kind of my big why, but it is still in the building stages because I am a newer agent.
That's awesome. But it's very, I mean, it sounds like it's completely practical and relevant to you in where you're at today. This is what you want to achieve. Yeah. How long did it, how was the process for you in thinking about your big why? Was it something very quick, or did you require someone to ask you a lot of questions?
So we talked about it as a team. We sat down at the table, and so they had really brought up like a bunch of uh other stories of what people's big whys are. So some people it was their family, or some people it was just financials. And so that like helped us figure out like what is our big why. And then Marnie, which is one of our brokers, she really said, it's going to change and it's okay if it changes. So as you like move on in life, your big why could change. That's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. So just to like embrace the change and know that every step that you take, you're still working towards that big why in the end.
Right, right. So how does having that why, like you mentioned about trying to become debt free, having that clarity, and I'm assuming you have a number to go with that, like a number of how much you want to. Okay, cool. How does it help you in your business and in your life? How is it helping you?
So we also did dream boards as a team. So I don't know if you've ever seen a dream board, but we like
Yes. Yes.
had printed out photos and put it on like a board, and it is right on my desk. And every time that I achieve something, I write the date on it. So like one thing that I was working towards is a vacation with my husband to celebrate our 5-year anniversary this year. And once I got that scheduled, I crossed it off my dream board and wrote the date of our vacation. And so every time that I achieve something, I'm crossing it off that dream board. And so it's really getting me to that point of seeing all like the fruits of my labor.
Wow, I love that idea. That is so cool. So you have your goals on a board, and oh, I love it, I love it as you work towards them. What a great way to celebrate your victory. Celebrate your
Yeah.
That's really cool. Wow. Okay. Yeah, let's just move down a bit. Let's talk about consistency. Yeah. So since I'm already talking to you, just ask you, why do you think, like, why is consistency so important in the life of an agent? What do you think about that?
Consistency drives what I do every day. So we partner with Place. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Place.
Oh.
But it's a company that I work for Keller Williams. I'm an agent for them, but we partner with Place. And so this gives us training aspects, it gives us scripting, it gives us learning aspects, training aspects. And it's worldwide. Um, it's such a great company that we partner with. And so every morning we start our morning with Power Up. And so at 8:30 a.m. we get into the office. There's a PowerPoint that has a learning aspect of the day. And it just is something, there's questions, there's quotes. It really just gets your mind started for the day. And so it really gets you ready to go and work and do those phone calls. So we sit down, we do Power Up for 30 minutes, then we go and we hit the phones for lead gen for 2 hours. And so every day that's blocked off. So consistently I go into the office 8:30. I know I'm going to be there. Then I do my lead gen from 9 to 11.
Wow.
So it's what drives my business, because if I miss Power Up, it feels weird. It feels like something's missing. Like if they cancel it, I'm like, okay, but what time do I start? Like, should I still go in for 8:30? Like but when it's there, 8:30 to 11, I'm busy.
Right. You know what's happening. So this helps you to
Yes.
keep consistent and to
Yeah.
make your lead generation. Wow, that's cool. Can I just ask, like, who's running this Power Up thing who's running that? Is it your broker?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
so Brian or Marnie will run the Power Up, and we all have access to it being part of Place. We can go in. So if I miss one, I could go into the system and pull up the PowerPoint and just see what I missed.
okay. So it will have quotes and different things to
Yep.
inspire you. Wow, it's really cool. I'm very
Yep.
curious to check this out. Okay.
And then we have scripting every day too. So once we're done with Power Up, if there's a specific script that you're going to work on that day, or you've had a lot of objections, then as a team, we'll do role playing and we'll play that script out. So that way you can get your like nervousness and jitters out of the way in front of the team instead of on the phone with a real life person. So it's really fun.
Wow, that's fantastic. I love hearing that you're putting the whole system into practice for real.
Yeah.
I love it. It's very cool.
And we do it before 9 a.m. So like that's the best part.
So it's just a 30-minute thing. Get all that in, the
Mhm.
script practice, the motivation. Very cool. Nice, nice. Wow. I want to ask you, Mark, do you have anything to add about, why do you think consistency is important in the life of an agent? Hmm.
Well, I think it's important in the life of any one of us, whether you're an agent or not. Now, specifically as an agent, if you're not consistent in what you do, it's that gradual, sudden thing. You'll gradually find yourself moving out of the industry. Let's just be real.
Gradual,
Um,
gradual, sudden, the other
yeah,
way.
exactly. And that's not the reason why you became a realtor. That's not the reason why you joined the market center. You joined it because you had some type of a goal that you saw for yourself. So what we have to do is get consistent. A lot of people that join into our industry have come from maybe a place where they had to punch a clock to go into work. And it's very different when you get into you being your own contractor. There's a lot of independence there. And with independence and freedom comes a lot of responsibility. So I think the biggest thing about consistency is that if you choose to get better, little bit of consistent action every day is the way to success. Whereas some people will try to go into the gym today and make up for 20 years and not being there, and tomorrow they can't even walk. Maybe somebody's done that before.
Might have done that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, consistency, it's just amazing, just the little things. So if you can start with, 10 calls a day and then move from 10 to 12 calls a day, then to 15, then to 20, and then to 1,000, Jess is going to tell us about how she does that. That little bit of consistency gives you a good feeling of having success for the day. And it's kind of like getting up in the morning and the first thing you do is you make your bed, because when you make your bed, it's the first thing you've done. It's the thing that you can come home to, and it's part of that consistency in your life. And then you add on to that next step after that.
That is awesome. Who made their bed today? I made my bed today. Anyone else make their bed today? That's so funny. I want to just pause here. I'm realizing I want to ask everyone who's on the call, please, when you're listening here, please feel free to put any ahas in the chat. And also, if you have any questions for Jess or for Mark, please put the questions in. I'll take a look and see, how many we can ask as we go on. So either on Facebook or on Zoom, please put your questions there, and I hopefully will be able to go through them. Yes. Okay. Okay. So being consistent, Mark, what are the things that an agent needs to be consistent with? What are those activities that they need to do?
Great question. I think there are 5 that can really lay out your entire day. So if you're taking notes, here would be the 5. Number 1, lead generate. We've got to create business opportunities, and we can get into some of the ways that you can do that. Number 2 is follow up. Follow up on any of the leads that you may have. So you've got lead generate, lead follow up. Then the next thing is you've got to go out and talk to people, make presentations, connect with them, learn how to ask questions to find out from them what their biggest fears are, what their biggest dreams are, and then partner with them to be part of that process of helping them through it. Frankly, the buying and selling of homes is pretty generic. It's what it means to somebody when we help them sell a home that's been a nightmare and we move them into a place that's a dream.
Wow.
Or helping them to buy their first investment because they've always wanted to be able to take care of their family and their parents. So really, we have the ability to, when we go out to make presentations, it's really about getting into conversation. I love to ask people, where would you love to live besides the beautiful home you live in now? And then whatever they tell me, I'm going to say, why aren't you living there now? And then everything after that question is the reason why in their head they think they can't do it. And it's my job as a real estate professional to help them solve those problems or that thinking that's holding them back from living their best life. And when we can do that as realtors, it's so exciting to go to work every day and to find a way to help somebody, whether it's with their 5-year plan, their 10-year to get their kids to university or live on, in a beautiful place that they've always wanted to live in, or providing a home for their parents or whatever that may look like. If we don't ask these questions, then we're just going around being salespeople. And there's
Wow.
nothing wrong with salespeople, but there's a lot more right about somebody that asks you a question to help make your life better. They'll never forget you when you do that. They'll tell everyone about you. And when you get sold on something, you know it, and you don't tell anybody anything good about it. You're like, yeah, I just didn't feel good about that situation. But when somebody solves a problem for you, you tell everybody. And then you get invited into their family. They want you to solve the problems for their kids and their grandkids and
Right. Amazing.
friends and such. Yeah.
So I heard you say, first of all, being consistent on lead generating, following up on those leads, and then having these presentations and asking questions. Is that right?
So the last two in the 5 would be is that you've got to make time to negotiate contracts. And we have to become good at that. So practicing negotiating specific basic things that happen in contracts, and we can do that right in the market center. And then the last thing is practicing. And Jess had mentioned it, practicing dialogues and conversations that open people up to actually ask, giving you answers to questions that they may never have thought about. Have you ever thought about real estate as an investment opportunity for your family? Where do you see yourself living in the next 3 years? Why is that important to you? Questions that move people forward. So there's an art in this, and it comes with practice. And being around people that have done it before you is always a great way to get there faster.
Right.
So those are the 5 things: lead generate, lead follow up, make presentations. Then you're going to do your negotiation, and then lastly, you're going to practice every day.
Nice.
Gradual, a little bit every day, just a little bit, boom, you're going to skyrocket.
Love it. This is all in our Ignite class. We have all this, right? Yeah.
If I tell you something that's then it's far out there and probably not going to work. So staying in the basics is what gets many people to the top for sure.
Right. Got it. That's really, really helpful. Gosh. Okay, Jess, I want to ask you, you seem like someone who's pretty consistent by the way you described, at least consistent on your practicing your script, as you mentioned, and consistent on doing these calls. Yeah, besides that, or maybe you can tell from the beginning, what does a day in the life of a consistent agent look like? Tell us about your life, Jess.
So, and this is something that I had talked to my brokers, Marty and Brian, about. They're my mentors through this process. When I first started out, Brian had looked at me and was like, I know that your business isn't where you want it to be. So what are you doing after 11 o'clock, after your lead generation. If you're not doing showings or you're not, negotiating or working on offers, what are you doing? And so I took a look at that and I was like, well, what am I doing? I might just be going home. I might do laundry. And so I extended my lead generation time by an hour. And
Wow.
so I would go in, I would do our power up, and then I would do lead generation from 9 to 12 instead of 9 to 11 like the other agents in my office were doing. And so that extra hour gave me 1 extra hour of making phone calls, following up with people, and trying to generate some business. And then after that, my afternoon is open now. So I can do showings, I can schedule inspections, appraisals, I can go door knocking. I, get ready for open houses if it's close to the weekend. So that's kind of how I schedule my days.
Okay, nice, nice. So tell us about in those 3 hours, what exactly do you do? Like, how do you decide who are you calling? Who are these people you're calling?
So when we get ready to list a property, we put it on Facebook as a Facebook ad. And then if people click on it, it automatically goes into our CRM. So you guys probably all use Command. We use something a little bit different. So I don't want to confuse you, but it's the same style.
Sure.
Um, and so we get leads from those Facebook ads. So I might be calling them to see if they want to see the property or if they have questions about the property. A lot of times my script is, hey, I just saw that you were on our website looking at 123 Main Street. Is that an area that you're looking to purchase in, or are you open to other areas? And so then it really gets the conversation started
Right.
as to where does this person want to live?
Mm-hmm.
Um, or I'll say, hey, Mark, I saw that you were on our website looking at 123 Main Street. People are on our website for one of two reasons. They're either looking to purchase a home or they're curious what their home's value is. Which one are you? And
Right.
so doing that, it doesn't allow them to say, I was just looking, because they've got to pick. Am I looking for my home value or am I wanting to purchase a home? So it doesn't give them that chance to say, oh, I was just looking. 9 times out of 10, they pick one of the choices that I've given them. So that's where a lot of like my phone calls come from. I also have my Sphere A. So when I started with the DuBois Realty Group, I had to come with a list of 200 people that like, know, and trust me. And so those are the people that I call, and I remind them that I'm in real estate. And then I also am out there doing cold calls for my clients. So my buyer clients, when I sit with them, I find out, where do you want to live? If I pull up a map of the town that you're looking in, what roads are you wanting to live on? And then I take that and I start calling that area to see if anybody is looking to sell their home and letting them know that I've got a buyer. Then I can go and door knock that area and leave little flyers and hang it on the doorknob if I miss them. But I'm having these conversations with people and I'm looking for my buyers in the areas that they're wanting to live in. Now, if I talk to somebody, I then send them a handwritten note, even if they don't want to sell. So I
Okay.
send them a handwritten note and it says, it was a pleasure speaking with you about your home. I know right now you're not looking to sell. However, I want to be a real estate resource for you. Reach out with any questions. Also, if you know of anyone looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, please think of me. And I leave my business card. And then that gets sent out to everyone that I've talked to. So when I'm doing this, I'm having 3 touch points just to find my buyer a home. And if it doesn't find them a home, it might find me a listing, or
Wow.
it's going to find me a nurture of somebody that eventually is going to sell within 1, 3, 5, 7 years.
Wow. So this is basically like you're kind of like farming the area where your
Yeah.
buyers and you're building relationships with all these people. But I loved, sorry, I just loved hearing your process. So you make the calls and to see if they're interested. And then you follow, if you have a conversation up with them, you follow up with a handwritten note that you send to their address, like in the mail. Is that how you
Yep.
do it? Wow, that's very cool. I don't think many in Malaysia are doing this. So that's quite an interesting idea to kind of like stand out. I like this idea.
Yeah,
Right.
I write at least 15 to 20 handwritten cards a week. Um, when I do my 1,000 dial days, I'll end up having contact with over 100 people. So those get backlogged a little bit just because I can't write 100 notes in one day. But I do get caught up on them. But yeah, I'm sending out at least 20 handwritten cards a week.
Right, right. I also, there were so many things you said. You also mentioned when you joined, you had to come with a list of 200 people who know you, like you, trust you. Is that right?
Yes.
That is very cool. So this is your Sphere A, you called them? Oh,
Yes.
nice. So how has that been, that experience of going to talking to them? Have you been able to get any leads or referrals from talking to these people?
I have gotten one referral. It was for their mother that wanted to sell her property. He didn't live in the state of Maine, but
Ah,
he said, I see that you're working. It was during the Super Bowl. And he was like, you know what? If you're going to work on Super Bowl Sunday, I think you should be the one to help my mom sell her home. And so that's kind of how that came about. So I was able to list her property and got it under contract in 3 days. So he was very happy with how that went.
very cool. I love it. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Jess, for sharing all this amazing stuff. Wow. Mark, do you want to make any comment about all these things you're hearing from Jess?
I'm just so excited, Jess, that you've got that great plan. And I remember actually coaching your brokers, Marty and Brian, way back when. And these are the things that they grew up on, and the things that Ben Kenny also brings to play in place. So, friends, if you are listening, this is somebody that's been in the business for like 11 months, and she's done an average of one per month. Uh, and she is just following the very basics. She's not doing anything crazy, isn't doing anything that needs fireworks or anything. She's just doing the basic things and doing them well and doing it consistently. And I love that, Jessica. I'm so
Yeah,
proud of you. That's awesome.
it is amazing. Mark, what do you, for those who are on the call and they're like, okay, I want to be like Jess, I want to be consistent, I want to do all this stuff, but like, I'm just not there. I don't even know. I've not had, I can't seem to do anything consistently for more than like 3 days. How can I become consistent? So I'm sure you must have clients that talk to you like this at some point. So I'm just curious.
Yeah,
Yeah. Some
all the
examples.
time.
Yeah. So what do you tell these people? Like, how do they make these changes? And what do you recommend?
Well, the first thing I'll ask them is, what is it about this situation that you can control? So we have to get back to the place of what can you control?
Okay.
Because the world's going to throw everything at us, right? And there's only so much that we can control. So what is it about this particular thing that you can control, Mariah? And then once we figure out what that is, I'm going to say, what is the most common denominator? What's the easiest thing that you could do today to move you in the direction of having a better result from that particular activity? What's the one thing you could do today? And they're like, well, I guess I could maybe, I could make 10 phone calls today. I said, great. Have you ever made 10 before? Nah, no, I've never really made 10 before. Wow, how will that feel? So I want to get into how's it going to feel. So for you, if you're sitting here listening to this, what's the one thing that you can control about the situation that has you most concerned about your business?
Hmm.
Once you've figured out what that one thing is that you can control you and your activities.
Right.
What's the one activity that you can do that will give you the biggest opportunity with the smallest amount of effort? So for a lot of people, it's picking up the phone. But if that's not your energy, don't go there. If you're not Jess, don't worry about it. I mean, Jess is she's amazing, right? She's doing the calls that she's making every day. If that's not your high energy place, go to another place. Say, I'm going to meet 5 people and shake their hands today.
Hmm.
Maybe you're better one-on-one.
Right.
But find a way to get in front of people to move forward with that one thing that you can do. So what is it that I can personally control in this situation? What's the one thing I can do today to move me closer to the desired result that I want? And then track it. Because when you track it and you say, hey, today I did 10 calls. Tomorrow I'm going to do 10 calls. By the end of the week, you've done 50 calls. And track what's the intentionality? Did you get 1 or 2 appointments from 50 phone calls? When I was actively selling, and then when I was a team leader, I knew that for every 20 phone calls I made, I would get 5 people that I would talk to. And from the 5, I could typically book 2 appointments.
Nice. Okay.
So you just know your numbers. It's kind of that numbers game that we talk about is the consistency of following that one thing that you do and you do it well and track it and find out what the conversion is. And if you don't know what conversions are, talk to the folks in your market centers that can help you figure out the conversion. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mariah will help you, between number of calls that you make, number of appointments that you set, number of contracts that you actually write, and you get those conversion ratios into alignment with the MREA.
Right, right. Yeah, so this would be an example of some of the tools you use to help to be consistent using the tracking you mentioned, right? Anything else that you use or you recommend?
Yeah, the big thing for me is that my clients are going to talk to me next week or sooner. I say, hey, don't let a day go by. If you're really confused about something, we need to spend a minute or two. Let's make sure. So who do you have that is able to pour into you, that can hold you accountable to what it is that you desire to do?
Right.
Okay. Jess has a team, which is wonderful. So she reports to Brian or Marnie or to both. And the numbers are there. And like Brian said, hey, what are you doing? I'd love to spend 30 minutes with you and help you maybe get more intentional around this one activity.
Right.
Once you're willing to say, hey, this is where I'm kind of struggling in, that's 90% of the battle, because there's always people at Keller Williams that are willing to help you get to where you want to go.
Having that person that's going to keep you accountable. So you have that conversation and then they will follow up with you, right, to check.
Yeah, and a MAPS coach is going to ask you, how did you do last week?
Mhm.
Tell me about the biggest challenge you had.
Right.
Tell me how you choose to overcome that challenge. So a coach isn't necessarily going to tell you what play to run. We may sometimes tell you what to do, but a lot of times we're going to ask you about how you did what you did and how you responded to that, because then we can unlock, all right, what if you did this a little bit differently next time? We can unlock that little small piece that's going to move you to that next level. And you can see it right in Jess. She's very coachable. And when she sits down with her team and they coach with her, she takes that and implements it right away. And that's why you're seeing the success that she's having. She's just submitted to the system. She knows it works. She's seen other people come before.
Right, 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 right. Thank you so much, Mark. That's great. Okay, I want to come back to you, Jess. You mentioned about your 2 hours, your 3 hours. So how much can you accomplish in 2 hours? Like how many calls can you make when you do 2 hours?
It's a great question. That's not my 1,000 dial days when
Okay.
I'm just calling for 2 or 3 hours. But in the 2 to 3 hours, if I'm using Mojo, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mojo.
I don't have it here, but I think some people might be familiar. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so it's a dialer and I use a triple dialer. So in the 2 hours or 3 hours, I'm making roughly 150 to 200 calls
Wow.
in that time frame.
Well, I'm assuming not everyone picks up, right? So not of those 300, 200 calls.
Right.
Okay.
So the best thing about Mojo and the reason that I can move as quickly as I can is I pre-record all of my voicemails. And so that way I'm not stumbling over my words because I've said it 100 times.
Oh,
Before I start my dial session, I call in and I leave the voicemail the first time, make sure that it's exactly as I want it to sound. And then as soon as somebody's voicemail picks up, you just click drop message and it sends your voicemail off to that person.
wow. That's profound.
So
I did not know that.
that's how I can make as many dials as I do. And then I'm not stumbling over my words or forgetting to say something, or, sometimes you're like, oh, that just didn't sound right. Or they're not going to call me back because I messed up, or you forget to leave your phone number, something like that. So it's the same pre-recorded message every time.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
I think in Malaysia, we don't use so much voicemail often, but I'm just getting ideas thinking normally we use WhatsApp, but we could potentially have a prepared WhatsApp message and be like, hey, I just gave you a call and you didn't pick up. You could have a preset thing to just send it immediately. That could be quite a good
So
idea. Time.
I do that for my open houses.
Oh, okay.
So I do something a little bit different for my open houses. So
You share.
I haven't seen another agent doing this yet. But before my open house, I get there, I turn all the lights on, and then I walk through and I do a video walkthrough of the property. And
Okay.
then I go and I do video edits. I'll add music to it. And then as soon as my people, they've all signed into my sign in sheet at the open house, As soon as they leave, I have uploaded the video into YouTube, and then I send them a text message that says, "This is Jess Whirley with Keller Williams Realty. Thank you for coming to my open house at 123 Main Street. Here's a video walkthrough in case you missed anything. If you have questions, please let me know." And so then I send out that video link. They've got that. They've got my number, and it's another touch point.
That's so cool. I love that. Very nice. Very nice. Wow. Okay. And before I forget, how do you do the 1,000? Like, how is that? How many hours does that take? And how do you
Um,
pick?
the first time it took me 8.5 hours to get to 1,000 dials, and the second time it only took me 6 hours. So in the second time I actually did more. I wanted to one up my first dial session. And so I did 1,111 dials because all the ones just sounded fun. And so that's what I went with. um, yeah. So I try to find little things like that. Like I was at 1,101 and I was like, well, what's 10 more calls? I can do that really easily. And so just little goals like that kind of gets me to where I want to be. But I look at the areas that my buyers are looking in and I circle the area in Mojo. It pulls through a list of homeowners in that area. And then I just make sure that I have a list of at least 1,000 people. And then I start dialing from there.
Wow.
And Mojo calls 3 lines at one time. So it's a triple dialer. So it's calling 3 people at the same time.
And then whoever picks up is who you're going to talk to.
Yep.
Okay, but I'm quite amazed actually. Sorry, I like the number thing too, but like you're 11 months in and you have 11 deals and you called 111 people. That's really cute. Something to put on your wall.
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat. Maybe I'll ask you, Jess. As a rookie agent, what are some effective ways to get qualified leads? So how do you qualify your leads once you start talking to them?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you do that?
So I learned early on not to waste my time with people that are not willing to get pre-approved. So I was working with a buyer and
that means like pre-approved means about getting a loan from the bank, right?
correct.
Okay, great, go on.
Pre-approved or pre-qualified to get a loan. And so I was spending time showing this person multiple homes. And then when we finally went to go and make an offer, I had them get pre-approved and they couldn't be pre-approved for that amount. And so now I made sure that I'm working with my lender partners for the mortgage to make sure that these people are pre-approved. So the last 3 loans that just closed for me, all 3 of them were leads from one lender. So I've built a relationship with one of my local trusted lenders. And so now when she gets somebody pre-approved, if they're not working with somebody, she sends them my way. And so then I have the opportunity to interview for the job.
Very cool. I want to ask you, when you start talking to someone says, hey, I'm interested in this property and it costs however much. Some of my agents say that like you can turn people off by asking them, hey, can you really afford this? Have you gotten pre-approved? How do you bring that up in a way that doesn't offend them?
Sure. So part of it is like, hey, Mark, so the home that you were looking at is 150,000. Is that the price point that you're looking to purchase in?
Okay.
It's pretty close to the place I was looking to purchase in.
Great. So would you be able to pay for this in cash, or would you need a mortgage in order to purchase this property?
This one, we're going to look for a mortgage.
Great. Have you worked with a lender to get pre-approved yet?
No, I haven't. Kind of new to the area.
Okay. Well, I do have a list of local trusted lenders that I could send your way right to your email. And then you could reach out to them and start that pre-approval process. Because that's really the first step in purchasing a new home is we want to make sure that you're pre-approved and we're showing you homes that fit your price point and your budget.
Wow, I really appreciate that. Yeah, send that by and Tammy and I will take a look.
Wonderful.
Is there anyone that you like better than the other?
Yeah, so that's like part of it. And, you know, if somebody's like, oh, I'm looking for this specific home, like I don't know if you guys have mobile homes in Malaysia, but we have lenders that only work on those. So finding out what they're looking for, then I can send them a lender that's going to direct them in the way that fits
Right
their
lender,
personality.
right lender for them. Wow, thank you so much. I think we can see that Jess has been practicing. You're very comfortable with that conversation. That was fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much. That's really helpful just to hear how you do your script. Amazing. Okay, I know we don't have a lot of time left. I want to come back to Mark. I want to add, I think one of the issues that comes up now here, because the industry has been growing, there's a lot of agents now in Malaysia, like in KL, a lot of agents. So there's a lot of competition, I think. So that's part of the reason why I think people are struggling. And I would love to know any tips that you have on, you know, staying afloat and maybe even gaining market share during, in such competitive markets. And I'm curious to know what kind of ideas you have.
Sure. Things, first thing is your biggest competition is right here.
Okay, okay.
It's your mind and it's your way of thinking about that. Competition is it's just another person out there. And what we need to do is not be better. We have to be different. So we have to figure out a way that we can actually become unique in the market. And that may be just by making a wow out of one of your processes towards getting a home into settlement. So, you know, whatever that is, be world class at doing that one thing. You don't have to be world class at everything single step of the transaction, but make one part of the transaction something that is a wow, and people are going to talk about it. So maybe it's putting a big bow on their door during the closing. When they get home, there's a big bow and a basket, and it's got all kinds of goodies for their first night at their new home. The other thing that I would say is so first one is don't look at your competitors as being that you have to be better than them. Look at ways that you can be more unique from them. The next thing is take a look at what part of the market you want to have an increase in, and really start to track that increase. I don't care if it's 0.001% of the market, because if next year it's 0.003 of the market, you've had a great increase, right? So find that market area and track the market area specifically. Could be one building, could be a set of buildings. Choose that area and choose to become somebody that is increasing the market share. And the way we do that is by talking to people, asking people questions, finding out what their needs are, what their problems are, and then become the person that actually works to solve those real estate related problems. We've helped a lot of teams do that just by really saying, hey, I want to become the number one team in Auburn or in Scarborough. And I say, great, what's your market share currently? What do you like to see your market share in the next year, the next 5 years? And let's put the plan together for that.
Wow.
Really getting intimate with your market is an important thing. And talking to people. Gary says that in a shifting market, whatever it's shifting up or down, you'll have to work twice as hard to make the same amount of money. Are you working twice as hard in this market? And I know in Malaysia it's been tough for the last few years with interest rates and such, but that's everyone's dealing with that. So, what are you doing to become unique in your market?
Right. What are you doing to become? I like that. No need to be better, but be unique, be different. I mean,
Right.
to be better, but I like this idea. Focus on being different and standing out. Yeah. Jess, do you have anything to add about this? Like any examples or ideas on how to be unique and different and how to stand out? I mean, you just shared about your open house video and sending that to your people who visited. That was a very cool idea.
That's been like my whole goal as an agent is I am coming into this. I'm a new agent. I'm working with and competing with agents that have been in the business, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So what can I do that is going to make somebody go, I want to work with Jess Whirley? So not only do I send that video after an open house, I
Okay.
also do a video before my open house. And so my video will start and it just says, where am I hanging out today? And then I'll say, hey, it's Jess Whirley with Keller Williams Realty and the DuBois Realty Group. Today I'm at 123 Main Street and I find a unique piece of that property. So if it's a spiral staircase, if it's a gorgeous kitchen, if it's a patio, if there's a pool, I find a unique piece of that property and that's where I take my video. And so it draws people to be like, ooh, I love that kitchen. She's at 123 Main Street. I'm going to go and check it out. I let them know how long I'm going to be there. And then I say, you don't want to miss this. I'll see you soon. And
Nice.
so that way it like, some people will be like, oh, she's not going to see me soon. But then people are like, oh, she said she'll see me soon. I should probably go and check it out. And so I post that on Facebook, and then people come to my open houses.
Darn, that is very cool. Just so the video is probably like 30 seconds or something, or less.
Not even. Yeah, it's like it's 15 seconds, and it's just a quick little, here I am. Sometimes if I'm with another agent, like I'll be like, hey, I'm also with Mark today. You don't want to miss this one. Come check it out. We'll see you soon.
What a cool idea. I want to see someone do that here. Come on, guys. Let's go, Malaysia. This is such a simple idea. What a great idea. So you just
Yeah.
film yourself on your phone or whatever and put it
Yeah.
up. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Okay, I think we're going to pause. Or Mark, do you have something to add on this topic? Okay. All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to pause and go do announcements. We have a lot of announcements about different trainings. In the meantime, for all those on the call, please just think through everything that you've heard today from Mark, from Jess. Is there something that you want to remember tomorrow? Because it's very easy to be excited, but then hearing a lot of things, but it will just kind of go in and go out of your mind. Once you move on, you're going to forget everything you heard. But if there's something you want to remember, something you want to take home, you want to keep in your mind, you want to take action on, can you just type it in the chat as your aha, whatever you want to put into action and do, just put it in the chat so that we can keep ourselves accountable and also encourage everybody else, because probably different ones of us would have caught different items. So then it will just help to read all the things that we've heard today. So I welcome you to do that while I share my announcements. All right. So first announcement is, yay, 2024 calendar Q2. So these are the trainings we have going on in April, May, and June. So you'll see April. Okay, so we have Winning Mondays, of course. You guys have to come for Winning Mondays every day. We have our Build 100K pipeline, which is the session with George, where you get to really see how to make your goals and how you can build a 100K pipeline for the year. That's on 4th April, and on 17th April, Agent Financials. This is the first time we're doing this training. It's something out of KW, and we're the first time doing it in Malaysia. And we can look forward to that. And we also have a CPD business planning clinic coming up. So you also see in May and June, lots of stuff. I'm not going to go through every single item, but we also have Ignite, the next round of Ignite. We just finished the last one recently, but the next one will be coming in 25th of June onwards. There's 20 sessions. It's going to be epic. So please look forward to that and block out your time if you want to come for that. All right, next one. So Agent Financials, yay. So for those who are, you might see it says 99 ringgit. So that's for those who are outside of our market centers. We have a charge, but for those, it's free of charge for anyone in KW Malaysia. So you can come for Agent Financials. And this is a place where you can master what you need to do to set up your business, right? So how to do your financial planning and budgeting, your tax strategies, how to make yourself a business entity. So Lynn will be running this. It's on 17th of April on Wednesdays. So it's a good time to prepare for tax time. I know taxes are coming up. Yeah, so please come for this if you want to learn about how to do this. All right, you can sign up. All right, the second one, we have our CPD session coming up on 24th of April, a Wednesday. So this is for those who need to get their points. If you are a PEA, right? A PEA or an REA, and you need to get your points to renew your license. So please come for this. We're going to be doing business planning clinic. So it's the KW business planning clinic. If you haven't done that before, so it's all about the 4 models: the business, the economic model, the lead gen model, budgeting model, and organizational model. So it's a good chance to come in and actually plan out your business for the year. All right, next one. Okay, that's the last one. All right, so I see a bit of there's a question here in the chat. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Someone's asking how they can connect with Jess. Jess, you're getting famous. I don't know
I
if you
am on Facebook.
Yeah, maybe you can put your something in the chat. Maybe you can write down your Facebook or your phone number or your email, maybe your email or your things in the chat that people can
Sure.
connect. That would be great. Yeah, and Mark as well. I think you should do that as well for anyone who wants to connect with you, and we can share that on Facebook as well for those that want. So as we're doing that, I hope you guys, everyone listening on the call, you got something out of this. Yeah. Okay. Someone said they find the one thing that you're good at and do it consistently, right? That's a good reminder. I appreciate that. Okay, so Jessica has put her information in the chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, so before we go, yeah, Jess, do you have like a final word that you would like to share, a final encouragement or inspiration that you would like to share with our group today?
So one thing that when I first started out in the business, I had a couple deals fall through. Um, it happens to agents, and my pipeline was so small that I felt the hit so hard. And so I really got down on that, and I was like, I need to figure out how to grow from here, how to, what do I need to do to actually get a good pipeline so I'm not stressed about every single deal. And so once I kind of came out of that slump and I got more lead generation, I started spending more hours in the office to revamp things and what can I do differently to be a different agent than other people. Then I started to really see things start to go in motion and the momentum was there. So really just keep pushing through. If you're struggling right now, you're struggling right now, you're not going to struggle forever. So if you can get through the tough times right now, just think of what you can do in the future, because just because life is hard right now doesn't mean it has to be hard forever. So just keep pushing through.
That's really lovely. That's so good. Such a good encouragement. Thank you. Okay, Mark, how about you? What do you want to share?
Jess, that was well said. Well said. Find something that you're excited about doing in our industry and choose to become a master in that place. There are a lot of different activities that will get you to the opportunity to speak to somebody to find out what their problem is or maybe what their dreams are. Become a master at asking those questions. If you're feeling like you're not having the success that you desire to have, look at yourself first and say, hey, where's my DNA in this? And where can I choose to get better? And what can I control? And the one thing that I share with people, and it seems to be the thing that got me going and would get most people going, is go out and talk to 5 people today. When we get into conversations with people about their lives, their families, there's a great energy there. And when you start to educate people, you build trust with them. And when you have trust, then you have the welcome opportunity to go into business together at some point. So we build that trust by educating them. So do they know how much their home is worth currently? Can we share with them that kind of information? Can we make sure that they're properly insured so that their home is protected? So these are the things that we can do outside of the sale that develop trust and give us opportunities to work with more people.
Wow, thank you so much. Appreciate you both, Mark and Jess. Thank you so much for your time. This is really a special session. I'm sure we're gonna have this all recorded, and I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be watching this even after today. So I really want to thank you guys for this gold nuggets that you shared today. Yeah, and thank you. Yeah, and thanks to everyone on Facebook and on Zoom. Thanks for coming and joining us, and thanks for the couple of questions that we received. Yeah, appreciate you all, and we will see you all next week on Winning Mondays. All right, take care, everybody. Have a good week. Oh,